Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had a great conversation. Our next category is the Pillar Award. This recognizes for-profit companies that employ corporate giving through donations, pro bono work, volunteerism efforts, and team members who serve on the boards of nonprofit organizations. Now, this is the core award around which the Pillar Award for Community Service Program was built. To present it, please welcome Lauren Hanna from Blue Technologies.
Thank you, Dustin. On behalf of Blue Technologies, we are honored to be a part of this year's Pillar Award program. As Dustin mentioned, I'm here to present the first group of this year's Pillar Award winners. We are uniquely familiar with the Pillar Award, having been recognized both as a company in our hometown of Cleveland and my father, Paul Hanna, our president and owner, as this year's Northeast Ohio Kent Clapp CEO Leadership Honoree. We have been recognized, like many of you, because giving back to the community is one of our core values at Blue Technologies. We are proud that our employees take pride in giving back to the communities we live in. On to the awards. We have 14 Pillar Award category honorees this year. We'll introduce in two groups. Here's the first group of 6. You'll meet the other members of the class a little later. It starts with Air Force One. Air Force One is a family-owned provider of HVAC and facility solutions. The company recognizes the importance of giving its associates the opportunity to give back to their communities. To promote that, CEO Greg Guy created the Air Force One Service to Others philanthropic program to support activities that enhance and serve their communities and address issues that impact the quality of life. Employees can donate up to 24 work hours per calendar year towards a 501(c) charitable organization. In addition, Guy created the Air Force One Community Foundation in 2013, which has given more than $200,000 in charitable donations to different organizations. Congratulations, Air Force One. Next, Cover My Meds. Cover My Meds has a reputation for positively contributing to the communities where people live, work, and play. Cover My Meds, which helps people get the medicine they need to live healthier lives, collaborates with Dress for Success Columbus, which empowers women by providing support, professional attire, and the developmental tools to help them thrive in work and in life. Dress for Success Columbus provides women with workforce readiness and employment retention programs, including interview and employment suiting, a career center to prep for job interviews, with coaching and resume help too, mentoring programs, professional women's groups, a leadership conference, and so much more. Congratulations, Cover My Meds. Our next honoree is Crane Group. Crane Group's leadership and its employees live by a set of core values: respect, family, community. Led by President and CEO Tanny Crane, the organization awards approximately $1 million towards philanthropic endeavors that enhance the quality of life in Central Ohio. It invests time and resources to support and advocate for efforts and programs that seek to increase access and opportunities for historically marginalized and underserved people. Additionally, the company's leadership believes in being a strategic partner to provide long-term solutions to address structural racism faced by its groups in communities, particularly Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Congratulations, Crane Group. Gbq Partners. While Gbq Partners has changed in size and scope, its culture and the way it cares for its team and communities has not. Amid the challenges of the pandemic, the firm remained committed to its community's needs. Over the past 3 years, Gbq associates have contributed an average of more than 1,000 hours and $100,000 annually to nonprofits, understanding that when its people flourish, its communities thrive, and business grows. Gbq's Committed to Community initiative offers associates time to volunteer at charitable organizations, and once busy season ends in April, Gbq closes its offices at 2 p.m. on Fridays for the rest of the year. Congratulations, Gbq Partners. Next up is Give Yoga. Give Yoga is a community-focused business. Owner Leah Westwater set out from the beginning to share the transformational power of yoga, not just with customers, but nonprofits, their employees, and the populations they serve. Through volunteerism and funding, Give Yoga has supported organizations including Youth Yoga Project, Huckleberry House, Africa Yoga Project, Flying Horse Farms, ROX, Local Matters, amongst others. In 2017, the Give Yoga Fund of the Columbus Foundation was established and financed through Give Yoga's You Practice, We Give program, through which $1 of every class visit is contributed to the fund. It has granted nearly $90,000 to nonprofits. Congratulations, Give Yoga. Grange Insurance. Grange Insurance makes an impact by giving back to the people and communities it serves. In 2021, Grange and its associates provided nearly $2 million in financial support to nearly 100 nonprofit organizations, many of which that are committed to advancing racial equality and supporting health and human service. This amount doubles the amount donated in 2019. Its philanthropic efforts are driven by the company's promise to be a good employer and a good neighbor. Grange Insurance Gives, its philanthropy arm, is primarily focused on social and community investments in the areas of health and human services, education, arts, social justice, and community enrichment. Congratulations, Grange Insurance.
Well, congratulations to the first 6 members of this year's 13 Pillar Award honorees in this category. Let's take a moment to watch the second video about this year's class.
As good corporate stewards and people who are successful in those communities, we owe something back to those who are less fortunate than us and to those that need our help. And I think there are a lot of ways for us to do that in the accounting profession.
We feel it's very important to be a good community partner in the communities where we serve, where we live, operate. We certainly want to leave them in a better place than the way we found them. We try to focus in our philanthropy efforts around children and families, health, homelessness, and housing.
Our core values are things that we not only believe in, but we truly stand by. Our community is our family. And through our charitable giving, volunteering, and business partnerships, each and every day, we truly strive to enhance, positive relationships within our community that will hopefully will drive the greatest impact on individuals where we are committed to serving.
Last year, 2021, we were able to serve 726 girls, women, and families. Also like to share that we, because we had such a need for community and in person was not possible, and we needed that community connection, we went ahead and created actually an online community, which is called the Empower Her Community. And it has been developed exclusively for women, and it's just to help them with personal and professional development.
Dino Lano of Safe Light has been a wonderful board member. He's been on our board for more than 10 years now. He started off on our Meals QA committee, which really looks at our Meals on Wheels program to see how we can do that more efficiently and effectively. And his operations background was a tremendous lift to that committee to help us all in figuring out how to do a better job and just do it better to get to more people.
The best way to demonstrate our impact, as always, is to look to our employees. We work with BESA to facilitate many of our community service opportunities, and we volunteered more than 6,000 hours over the course of our collaboration with them since 2017. And then this year alone, despite the pandemic, our employees did almost 200 service projects.
We had great support from the Columbus community. And I think that has been what's really driven our success, is all of that support from the community. And I think with the idea of that and being a good corporate citizen is just being able to use that success and give back to the most vulnerable members of our community in return.
We really think that it's just a natural thing as being part of it's kind of corporate responsibility. It's just being a good citizen in this world. We think that there's a lot that we receive as a benefit of our community and our society, and so it just feels like our responsibility to give back.
Welcome back, everyone. Since we're here to demonstrate the tie between the for-profit and nonprofit worlds, it only makes sense to recognize the hardworking and innovative individuals who run the nonprofits and employ savvy business practices that lead to success. These are our 2022 Executive Directors of the Year. We have 5 honorees. To present them and to sit down with 3 of them, welcome back Medical Mutual's Christine Taylor and Veronica Hawkins.
Thank you, Dustin. Our first honoree is Nicole Dunn, President and CEO of Flying Horse Farms. Since on-site programming was suspended due to the pandemic in 2020 at Flying Horse Farms, a camp where children with serious illnesses heal, grow, and thrive, Nicole Dunn was steadfast in her focus on the camp's first core value of Campers First. She used this value as a guide throughout the pandemic, stabilizing and keeping Flying Horse Farms financially healthy, and leveraged the crisis to create more impactful experiences. Nicole responded swiftly and thoughtfully to change program delivery, suspending on-site programming, and launched a virtual program to deliver entertainment, connection, and resources. In 2021, Dunn led Flying Horse Farms toward its 10th anniversary of on-site camp when it welcomed 10 families back for their first family camp since 2019. Congratulations, Nicole.
Our next Executive Director of the Year is Linda Logan, President and CEO of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. Linda has been a leader in Columbus sports for nearly 2 decades. In 2021, as people across the community and the world struggled, Logan helped to create a community youth camp to provide equitable sports opportunities for children ages 6 through 12. The camp promoted confidence and personal wellness while teaching teamwork, sportsmanship, and overcoming adversity. 80% of the children who attended community youth camp did so on scholarship. In the Greater Columbus Sports Commission offices, you'll often hear the adage, if it's good for Columbus and our community, it's good for us. Congratulations, Linda. Next, please help me congratulate Adero Robinson, Executive Director of City Year Columbus. As a City Year Columbus AmeriCorps member beginning in 1995, Adero, now Executive Director, began a journey that led him to a lifetime of community service. He has led the recruitment and hiring process of City Year Columbus staff since 2014, with a focus on diversity. That resulted in the organization maintaining 50% staff of color, an average staff tenure of 3.5 years, and yearly increases in staff satisfaction scores. Leading with the City Year value, students first, collaboration always, Adero has a strong understanding of Columbus's long-term impact plan, the whole school, whole child implementation model. Let's hear a little more about Adero and City Year Columbus. Adero, congratulations and thanks for joining us today for a short conversation. We look forward to learning more about the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate this. This is an incredible honor and incredible opportunity. So I'm excited.
So start off by telling us, how are diversity efforts affecting both the engagement level of and the impact made by the next generation of volunteers and philanthropists?
Well, I think from a City Year standpoint, City Year has been built on this idea of service, but also diversity and equity. And a lot of the work that we do that sort of permeates through our work when we're working with young people, our AmeriCorps members, the students we connect with in the education space, we have this framework. The acronym I would call is a DEIB, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But we also added another piece onto it of belonging. So as you think about how we approach our work, how we approach service, how we interact with each other, how we communicate, how we respect each other, how we provide feedback, it all falls underneath that umbrella of that DEIB framework. That thinking about how we recruit folks, how we train, how we build leaders, right? The young folks that work in the organization, the staff that we recruit and that we foster to help us facilitate this work. So I like to think that when we're thinking about diversity and engaging not only the folks that work with City Year, AmeriCorps members, staff, but also the champions of City Year, which includes board members, volunteers, supporters of City Year. So we want to think about how those diversity and inclusion efforts and equity efforts are always at the forefront of our work.
What issues are you seeing as most important to today's youth, especially as it relates to their desire to get involved?
Right, that's a great question. I think, this pandemic has really highlighted some of the challenges that many of our systems are seeing right now, and many of the challenges that many of our young people are experiencing. That we knew what those challenges were, but this pandemic really magnified where some of the gaps are and where we are noticing a lot of inequities, especially in the youth development space. So I think some of the issues we're seeing come about are even though we have all of this technology now and ability to connect, feels like many of our young folks are somewhat disconnected, right? They're having difficulty in transitioning back into the school space after being virtual for so long, or they may be having challenges with each other in the social media space or outside in the street that spills over into the classroom, that hinders their ability to learn and have an educational experience. That some of these challenges are, we need to really be thinking about the social emotional state of our young people, especially as we're going back and forth and figuring out how we're going to navigate this pandemic. And so the students and young folks are getting what they need. So I think a lot of those issues we have to be really cognizant of as we're as youth service providers, that we're making sure that not only we're taking care of the caretakers are taking care of themselves, but we're also figuring out ways to take care of young folks. So we're seeing a lot of issues related to, I've probably heard stories about, fighting in schools or other, conflict that young people are having in the school space or in their neighborhoods. And some of those are verbal, some of those are turning into violent altercations, and some are turning into, some folks or young folks are unfortunately passing away because of some of the challenges that they're dealing with. Some young folks just maybe not knowing how to deal with their emotions as it relates to all this back and forth and all these different pressures that they're struggling with, whether in their neighborhoods or in their homes, or how they're interacting with their peers. So I think having that, one of the things City Year really hangs its hat on is the developmental relationship framework. And I'm thinking about how we, provide support, help young people understand the possibilities that they have, expressing care, and always being that additional ear as mentors and tutors and folks that provide an additional arm of support around, put your arm around these young folks so that they can have the opportunity to, advocate for themselves and see that there are other things out there that may not have thought would be available. But here are some resources and opportunities that we can help foster for you to be the best young person you can.
Nice. Staying on the topic of the pandemic, are there any programs that you've been able to develop in the midst of COVID-19 to keep youth engaged and involved? Do you mind sharing some information about one or two of those possibly?
Sure, absolutely. So, a lot of our work was virtual for a while, and we've done some hybrid work with the classroom, with the schools. And then we've gone back full time into the classroom with our AmeriCorps members and students. But I'll speak on the AmeriCorps member development side and that young people development for young folks. And I think about the learning and development modules that we try to provide for young people as they're facilitating their year of service. So we have a really robust mentoring program that we've had to switch to virtual, but it's an opportunity for many of our young folks that are working with City Year to have experiences with other professionals in the workspace from many different walks of professional life, where they're talking through, how to network, how to do a really solid resume, how to do a really solid interview, how to navigate the workspace as a young professional. I think that's one really cool tool that we have. We have other opportunities for community connections as well. So we think about other ways that we're networking with professionals who've been there and done that. So I think about when I was, right out of college and when I was in City Year, the opportunity to connect to professionals that could give me advice on tips and tricks on things that I probably could have done coming right out of college and having a budding career. So that's one thing that we've really tried to build up more, especially in the virtual space, because we don't have that human connection. really, as we're building relationships with folks, especially with young people early in their careers, having those physical connections and physical networking is always optimal. But we're finding ways to be creative so that we can still continue that as they're developing in our program.
Absolutely. So, and finally, as you look ahead to your strategic plans for 2022 and beyond, what's next for City Year?
Well, I think that's a great question. So we're always looking to, I always talk about City Years is trying to make sure that we're always thinking about the impact and the partnerships we have with the students that we're working with, right? So when we bring in it's like a dual track in my mind, the development of our young AmeriCorps members who are working in the schools, providing the services in partnership with Columbus City Schools and the school buildings, but also the young people we're directly providing service towards, right? So how are we impacting them from the start of the year, midpoint of the year, and throughout, that experience where they're connecting with the AmeriCorps members, and really about building relationships. So we want to make sure we're continuing to dive deep into our impact. I also will talk about how we're building on that DEIB work that I spoke about earlier, the diversity work, so making sure that that's always a part of how we facilitate our whole school, whole child program. What are the different pieces of diversity and equity that we're integrating in how they're doing a lesson plan with a young person, or facilitating the math lesson, or some sort of reading interaction and helping that young person grow. Or when we talked about some of the challenges that young people may be dealing with, what does that look like in the social emotional development space as well? How do we incorporate that? So making sure that we're constantly growing, learning more, utilizing our tools, building our resources, and so that we can continue to be strong in that space. I also like to think about, as we think of build our impact, serving more students, building our resources as an organization, building our profile, building our network, in order for individuals to understand what City Year is constantly doing, and being able to, you talked about engagement. We really want to make sure we're engaging as many people in this work as possible, either through volunteering, doing a school tour, a virtual school tour, providing financial resources, coming in and talking with our AmeriCorps members, engaging with them, hearing firsthand what their service looks like on a day-to-day basis. So we want to continue that trend of growing the work that we're doing in Columbus.
And it is great work. I want to thank you for all of the work that you are doing for youth in the community, and congratulate you once again, Adero, for this well-earned and well-deserved award.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Our next Executive Director of the Year is Denise M Robinson, President and CEO of Alvis Incorporated. Denise was named President and CEO of Alvis in 2005, but the impact she's had on the organization and the people it serves began when she joined more than 35 years ago. Denise is an innovator in treatment services for individuals with justice involvement, which did not exist when she arrived at Alvis. The first thing she said when she got there was, "Why don't these clients have program plans?" Since 2005, Alvis's operating budget has nearly quintupled, as has the staff. Alvis is serving thousands more people, has a greater depth and breadth of services, and operates in an efficient, cost-effective way. Let's learn more about Denise and Alvis. Denise, congratulations, and thanks for joining us today for a short conversation. Let's learn more about what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Veronica. This is very humbling.
Pleased to speak with you today. How have you identified opportunities for the various expansion of services?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Alvis, we have a reputation in innovation, and we're often asked to pilot programs. And so sometimes we're asked to pilot those programs, such as workforce development program. We started that in 1977 for justice-involved individuals. And then we created the first program in the nation for persons with developmental disabilities that were also justice involved. We piloted one of our programs, one of the first programs in the country for veterans with justice involvement. And we also have one of the first prison diversion programs in Ohio that served individuals with justice involvement and dual diagnosis. Our excellent track record, though, means that Alvis is also often asked to be a service provider for new areas, new populations. So the other way we've identified expansion opportunities by looking at the unmet needs of our clients. For instance, our family and children's program, it began because I saw the pain of both moms and their children who have been separated by the mother's justice involvement. So we just opened a recovery housing program for men that has dedicated space for men and women. And that just doesn't happen where you're able to keep your kids with the moms and dads. So service providers, sometimes they'll say to me, I have one of your people, and I'm like, and they always want to know what should they do. And I'm just like, what do you mean you have one of my people? Just because a person has justice involvement and behavioral health care needs, everyone can meet their needs. So, but just one more thing that I'd like to say about meeting some identified needs for our clients is for employers in the community. It's a community need. So for example, employers need workers with certain skills like CDL licenses and OSHA safety standards, logistics certifications, and we're able to do that. We're able to provide them with those employees.
Denise, in what ways have you been able to engage your board as part of your growth plans?
So I am very, very open with my board. I share everything with my board. It's just not part of my DNA to surprise them with new opportunities. I really don't want someone telling my board about it without them knowing that. We also vet every opportunity through my management team as well as through our executive team, and then we take it to the board. And we'll work through that process and through our board committees, such as our finance and governance and quality and technology committees. And all of them have a piece in all of our operations, as well as being able to identify, for instance, the return on investment, making sure that we're going to get the correct outcomes that we're looking for. Our current board members, they also look for new board members with a range of skills, including business development, which is very, very helpful when new opportunities come to us. Alvis is a nonprofit, but we still need to operate like a business. We have people instead of profits as our bottom line. And I always say, you know what? We have to make a profit, but we also have to help our people. So yesterday, in particular, we just held our kickoff for our board's capital campaign for our and renovations project. And so it was really, really just showed the camaraderie, number one, but also how we work together with our board.
Awesome. That sounds like a great structure to get things done, right? So what challenges have you needed to overcome during COVID to continue to deliver your services to clients? I'm sure it's a question you get frequently. But...
Yes, we do get it frequently, but I always start by answering that type of question is at the start of the pandemic, Alvis, we were in terrific shape. We had a crisis plan that included a pandemic flu plan, and we had a stockpile of PPE, as well as we had isolation protocols that were already defined. And then the challenge came as the pandemic went on and on and on. And in March of 2020, it was impossible really to think that it was going to last 2 years. And 2 years later, we're still talking about it. What's helped us too is that we never, ever let our guard down. We've continued to wear masks in all of our facilities. We continue with the plexiglass. We have isolation rooms if needed. And, it's just when some companies have dropped some of their measures, it's been a challenge for them, but we never stopped. We never closed our doors, and we just continue to follow our protocols. Omicron wave has been very challenging for Alvis, though, because a number of people are testing positive, clients and staff, a lot of breakthrough infections, and people are not sick for very long in general, but they're sick, but more people are sick at the same time, which has really stretched our staff.
Right. Yeah, it is hard to believe. It's been 2 years next month, right? So
that's right.
We're doing the best we can. So talk to me now a little more about what's next on the horizon for Alvis.
So I'm glad you asked that question too. I'm really glad you asked. We are building a 2-story expansion onto one of our facilities on Allen Creek Drive, which is a 100-bed program. We're adding an additional 225 beds.
Wow.
And then, yeah, and it's really exciting because we're going to then renovate the current building, and it's going to serve women. Right now, our women are in 3 old Victorian-style homes, and they are the original Alvis house. And you may notice that we've dropped the house in our name. You know, we are Alvis Incorporated. You know, we're just so much bigger than a house anymore, and it's really difficult to maintain, you know, over 100-year-old homes for 20 and 30 people. That was made for a family. You know, so when we move those women out of that space and move them into the renovated new space, you know, I feel like we're really going to be moving the agency into the 21st century. I sometimes say, oh my goodness, we're still in these old homes, but they serve their purpose. And at the time, they were great locations. And it really gives you that family style kind of treatment program. But we were real cognizant in the design of the new building and the renovation to ensure that we were going to have enough spaces for treatment, group space for treatment, medical, programmatic space, everything that our women need, and making sure that it is conducive to treatment.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So Denise, congratulations again, and much success and luck in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Our final Executive Director of the Year is Maylin Samboys, co-founder of Femergy. As co-founder and Director of Development of the nonprofit Femergy, Maylin heads a small organization making a big impact. Its core team of 6 women is helping to transform communities for the better and to help girls and women succeed. Maylin helped create Femergy programming she knew would make a real world impact. She's committed to building the organization and serving communities. Under her direction, Femergy has maintained an intentional focus on identifying career fields that have a shortage of women and hosting career clinics for women's professional development and leadership camps with a sports exploration focus to ignite interest among middle school and high school girls. Let's learn more about Maylin and Femergy.
Maylin, thanks for joining us here at the Pillar Award for Community Service Recognition Program.
Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations again.
Thank you.
So, you know, your organization, Femergy, provides a suite of services for young women and girls. Can you talk a little bit about how this makes a significant impact on their lives?
Absolutely. So for us, a lot of girls, they have dreams, they want to do certain things, but they just don't have the access or the guide to do it, right? As girls and women, we face so many, you cannot do it. This is not for you, right? This is not your place. Sometimes we're like one of very few people at a table, right? When it comes to leadership and C-suites. So our organization really prides itself on helping girls and women see what's possible, not just telling them what could be done, but also showing them and guiding them and mentoring through the process. It's not enough to tell somebody how to do something. I really feel, especially for me, I love when somebody can coach me, can guide me, mentor. And as a young girl, having people that invested in me when I didn't even know what was inside of me changed my whole trajectory of my life, which is why I'm here with you today. And for us, we have made it our life mission to make sure that every girl, every woman that we come in contact with knows what's possible and how to access that. So then it's their choice, right? If you want to be an engineer, whatever you want to be, you can do it. But at the end of the day, it will be your choice. And we just give you the tools and the guidance that you need to achieve it.
That's great. So talk about a little bit of the ways that you're filling the gap in the marketplace. You know, as you see what you're able to do and the things you just talked about, you know, why does that become so important and where are those gaps?
Well, even now more than ever with COVID, I feel like there has been a lack of connection. As you know, I don't know if, you've seen the stats, mental health has been in the rise, right? So with children, especially with girls, there's just so much of that is demanded of them, right? You have to be at home and go to school, or you have to deal with a pandemic, which we never had to deal with in our lifetime before. So in addition to being a teen girl, you're facing already so many challenging things, and now you add a pandemic to it. It's just like the last drop, right? So our organization really came around, and Christina and I had done a really good job of being very intentional about how do we bridge that gap, right? So how do we meet girls where they're at? We don't create any program or anything that we don't get feedback from the girls. So any program that we have, any events and services that we provide have been because we have surveyed the girls, we meet with the girls. What do you need at this moment? And then we go ahead and I really kind of like provide and create programs to support them with that. So the gaps could be from like, I need someone to talk to. You know, this is happening in my house. I don't have the resources. Sometimes it's like, they don't have the basic resources. So our organization goes to the community and finds what resources are available to help them. You can't learn if you're hungry. You can't learn if you don't have a place to live, right? Like it's just impossible. So yes, we care about education and we care about them achieving their goals, but we also care about them knowing that they're safe, right? That they matter and their families safe and matter. So we do like a wraparound pretty much service to our girls and our women. So whatever they need at that time, we go find it. And then in addition to that, we provide them the resources for academic, success, whether it be tutoring, whether it be mentoring, connecting them with resources, depending on what they wish to do or they need at that time.
You talk about being able to connect them with resources. I'm interested how you built partnerships with different organizations with which you're connecting them, as well as how you're soliciting the information about what they need.
Absolutely. So during our meetings or any meetup that we do with them, we do surveys. So we collect that, how they're feeling, where they're at, what do they need. We also make phone calls. So our team makes phone calls and kind of calls the girls to see, how are you? What is happening right now? How can Femergy support you? That is so critical, right? Like sometimes you're not a cookie cutter. Like you cannot create something and think everybody's going to benefit from that. It doesn't work that way. But because we know that the need is so large, and as an organization, as a small organization, we cannot possibly help everyone by ourselves. We partner with great organizations. I mean, Columbus is full, and even Cleveland, right? But Columbus is full of amazing organizations that are here to support. So Children's Hospital is one of our partners. And that started by us just understanding that the girls needed more guidance in mental health, how to cope with certain things. So we partner with them and they've done workshops for the girls, with parents. So, we start that relationship, that connection of here are the services that you have. Here's what our girls need. How can we do this together? And that's not just for them, that's just an example. We go to schools, right? We talk to principals and counselors. What are you seeing right now? What is your biggest need right now for your girls? We take that information and then we come back to our team and say, okay, who do we know? Who have we connected with that can provide this service or the support to the school, to these girls? So really having authentic, I think, partnerships and relationships, it has taken years, I think, but we have been very blessed to have people that really believe in our mission, that really care about girls and women, and that just say, hey, Femergy, this is what I have. How can I help? So we have had both. We have gone and looked for some, and some people have come to us. Those partners are great. The Women's Fund of Central Ohio is incredible. They have supported, they are catalysts really to some of our programs. The level of support they have provided us is amazing for our women's program. The Columbus Youth Foundation, the Columbus Foundation have really just gotten behind Femergy to really help us provide the services that we need for the girls as well. So without those organizations or donors, I mean, it's not enough. It's not a one thing. It takes a village. It really takes a community to serve girls and women in our community. And we're just so thankful that everybody is so open and is so ready to really invest in the impact that we can make for girls and women right now.
Well, I think people are always willing to invest in the future. And I think what you're doing really is putting that, nurturing those, planting those seeds and nurturing them for the future. Before I ask you a little bit about what we can expect to see from you in the coming year, I have to ask about Girls Heart Reading that really was your foundational seed for this. Tell me briefly, just quickly about that.
Yeah, so that was our founding program. It was really supposed to be a summer initiative. So we decided after attending a Women's Fund event, key holder, that we were gonna just one summer invest in girls. We put out a flyer, girls came and we did a book club. So that we called the Girls Heart Reading Ohio because we wanted to infuse leadership and also the love for reading because they're right. You can learn so much with that. But we wanted to do it one summer. That was our give back to the girls. We learned so much in that summer, where girls really were facing a lot of barriers and a lot of challenges. So at the end of the summer, when we were ready to say goodbye, they were not ready to say goodbye to us. And, and that was the beginning of really what Femergy became, because we said we're gonna do it one more time. And 8 years later this month, we're still here doing programming. But so now Girls High Reading Ohio, or Grow Your Future, what we have transitioned to call it, really was what showed us the need that it is in our community for girls.
Excellent. Well, as a writer, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. So now, what can we expect to see from you in the organization this coming year?
Well, because of everything that's happening, we usually do programming in the community level, right? So we go to, we go to Ohio State, or we go to a place and we have the girls come to us. But right now, that's kind of becoming a challenge for a lot of the other girls, right? Because of what we're facing. So we are going to meet the girls where they're at. We're coming to the schools. We are partnering with schools here in Columbus City School District and a little bit nearby to really come and bring our programs to the girls. We want to come in and provide the workshops, the support that they need to succeed. So that is what you can expect from Femergy coming up this year. So Femergy is excited. Also a big dream, and we hope that happens this year soon, is to have our own Femergy Center, where we can really provide a space for women and girls to come and get all the services that they need. And also for local nonprofits that don't have where to provide services, they can partner with us and be there with us at that time.
That's fantastic. Well, Mylene, thank you so much. Congratulations again. And keep doing what you're doing. We're going to keep an eye on you.
Thank you so much for this time and this honor. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Dustin.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to take our next and final networking break of the morning. Now, back at your tables, let's talk about what you're looking forward to this year, 2022. How are you and your organization planning to come together to support community activities, team build, or if you're a nonprofit, raise funds and deliver upon your mission? And finally, what have you learned about yourselves and your organizations over the past 2 years that you may not have known or even realized? We'll see you back here shortly for the next part of today's program.